Here I am, Leon C., aka Morpheus. You are now listening to the Academy of Wow Men. And here today we got another unique topic to talk about and discuss. It's going to be very fascinating because I did a lot of, as I always do, a lot of thinking and studying. And as you understand my particular subjects, I'm always destroying the roadblocks, the black-mindedness, meaning when you're mind blocked and there's nothing but blackness in your unconsciousness, or you can't seem to see the way towards whatever that situation it might be. I am always giving you tools that you can use to win, giving you tools that you can use to pull yourself out of a situation. So you understand the discussion that we're having here today. And no, I'm not a therapist. And I don't work out of the, in the field of psychology. But I have some things that might help you. It's your choice if you want to accept what I'm saying or not, and try it out for yourself, or even just think it over, because it doesn't help for everyone. Now, I've discussed this before, that I've been in the health field in the past, and I know much about the medical practices, so this isn't really out of my field. And I speak to you often about physical exercise and food and therapeutical measurements and practices that you can take into your own personal lives. And again, this comes from experience and knowledge. This doesn't come from me just pulling apples out of a tree, or shall I say the lowest hanging apples out of the tree. This comes from really doing extensive studies and climbing the ladder to get these apples that are at a higher reach, or a more in-depth study according to our comprehension, our apprehension of things. But what I will tell you today is, I've noticed that there are plenty of people who are hurt. When I swing my axe at this matrix mindset, or in the darkened blue pill world, I'm always going to strike it where the heart is. I'm always going to give you something that's going to go directly to the center, which is a very definition of wow. And to discuss these matters that a lot of people don't talk about, are not willing to discuss, or they discuss it in the way of blue pill. See, a lot of these conversations that I'm getting ready to discuss today, and have discussed before, it's always going to be dabbled, not myself but others. They use their programmed mindset in order to discuss these situations. Oftentimes they come to you through church ideas, or there's a God, there's a devil, you should pray about it, or go to the therapist themselves, or go to a doctor, or go meditate, or things that are along that line. But they clearly don't understand that they're dealing with a microscopic issue, but universally this thing is bigger than that. And how is it bigger, you would ask, Morpheus, and what differs from what I'm going to say versus another person? What differs is, my eyes is on the pan area, the entire circumference. And when you hear yourself, or when I hear or experience other people saying certain common things, that is according to their pain. And here's one of the biggest Shangri-Las I'm going to give you. And it is going to expand across other subjects as well. It could be how people live their life. It could be the decisions that they make according to their home and our job. And that is specifically the pain and being hurt, being disappointed, being let down, being discouraged, or trusting someone and that trust not being fulfilled. You not getting what the contract or what the union said that you was going to receive in the beginning. So, without further ado, there are many women now when it comes to the, you can say, the dwindling feminist ideology, and why there is so many MGTOW or RP men, or even a lot of women saying that they're boss babes that want to go get their PhD, get the bag, be this career-oriented woman. And why there are so many even mothers who are telling their daughters, don't worry about a man this young or at this age of your life. Reach higher. Go get the ball player. Go get the 6 feet tall, 6-digit man. Or they would also say, don't worry about a man, period. Have your fun, have your hot girl summer. And this high quality man or high value man will come to you eventually. This is what's said. And there are several teetering links to this, or paths that have created to happen, such as being misled. That's why they teach this, or they spew this sort of dogma in the society, and are the pain and experience that the mother have endured versus what she thinks her daughter might go through as well. And then you have other girls who simply can't be alone. Let's face the facts here. Let's go ahead and dissect the foundation of the common typical woman. And this may be the third path. See, women are usually social, and they have a hive mind sort of circle that they always float around or navigate. And usually the common average woman isn't going to be alone. She don't want to be alone, and she's used to her social circle. And with that, of course, we can discuss the fact that a lot of women really don't like to step on another female's toes. They're very passive when it comes to aggression or argument or dispute or confrontation. That's just the way that they're made. They're very passive, and they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and they don't want to be the outcast nor the black sheep. And a woman who's not getting any attention is a woman who's almost on the verge of jumping off of a balcony. Because attention is usually her currency. Attention is usually how she gets her validation, however, in its various forms. And one of the main various forms is social media. So, teethering this to the subject that I am discussing now is there are plenty of women who will actually do that, which you would say misery love company. She'll go and she will get this career. She'll have this mindset that she don't need a man in her life, and she's making the money that she wants or need at that particular time, and not giving a care about the future, or the very fact that the men that she want really don't want her type, and which we're not going to get into. He will donkey dunk with you. He will donkey dunk with her. He will spend a little time with her, but as far as marrying her or giving her his last name, there's a certain requirement behind that we don't have to discuss right now. It's because men look for different things. Men don't really care. Real men who has their life together, men who are making their own money, they're their own bosses, and men who are already taking care of themselves and have assistance in their life, they don't care about a woman who has herself together. They don't care about that, because he can get a woman any type of day. Beautiful women are in the numbers. They're on a constant basis, and a man is always looking for peace, for comfort, for cooperative compatibility with his women. So he's not concerned about a boss babe or a woman who's trying to be like him. It's going to be two bucks running into each other and running their rams against each other in the middle of the forest. It don't work like that. He has to wrestle with this woman. He's not interested in doing that if he's wrestling the world. So make a long story short, ladies and gentlemen, these women who can't find or get with men because they've gone too far in their PhD lifestyle or careers, they end up miserable because naturally they're social creatures. They want people to be with them or other girls as well. So of course you come up with this shaming language. You come up with these female circles, and the girls who are so passive because they don't want argument and confrontation, they'll get along with this girl, and of course they'll find a way to entice this other girl who's interested in family and finding a husband at a young age and doing what needs to be done to bring in the next generation by making this girl owe her something, keeping secrets, keeping definitely dark secrets. They keep information within their circles, and they will hold that information against that other girl to at least keep her in line with the negative dogma that the circle of those girls are trying to keep and continue on. So therefore you have out of that these branches of girls who will say, I got my girlfriends, I don't want a dude. I'm gonna have a girl night out. We're gonna have hot girl summer. I'm gonna go out with a drink with my girls because we're like-minded. Now they will always be like-minded, and here's the fact: because single women keep other women single. Single women keep other women single. And those aren't my words. This is fact. And I think I heard somebody else say this once upon a time too. So there you go. It's not my words, but in this particular story, it's a fact. How I'm spinning it together. Single women keep other women single. In a lot of this, once again, why did they end up on that path to begin with? Why did the PhD go down to the PhD? Why did the mother tell her to just get away from men and focus on yourself? It's, as I said before, in so many ways and in so many forms. Somewhere along the line, there was hurt and pain. Somewhere along the line, someone violated their trust. Somewhere along the line, a bridge was broken and are burnt down or destroyed in one form or the other. But the average common modern woman, though, because of the lack of accountability, because of the them being praised for bad behavior instead of being corrected when they do something wrong, they don't see that it's because of the choices that they make. The women that they choose men that they choose to be with. They choose the wrong type of guys. They choose the bad boys. They choose the guys who are the most, you could say, popular or most performing. They choose these guys, and these men typically dog them out or disrespect them or hurt them in one form or another. And instead of changing their ways, meaning instead of looking in the mirror and asking themselves what they have done wrong, they will immediately count every man as a worthless dog type man, or that he's going to do the same thing to her as the other guy have done. And of course the list goes on. But it's kind of funny when you look at the situation. It's kind of funny, and it's very interesting how when a man says the same thing, when men begin to discuss their disappointment with women, he will easily be met with, well, who hurt you? And you're choosing the wrong type of girls. And also, you need to make sure that you find the right type of woman. If this one woman hurt you or disappointed you or ruined your trust, you should find another woman. But when men turn the page, because we're in equality now, right? We're all in this together, right? We're fair all the way across the board, correct? This is what women have fought for years. You wanted equality. You want to be treated as every other person on the face of the planet. So here it is. When men decide, or in any type of discussion or debate, turn the page and say, okay, what about you, madam? Who hurt you? And you need to find a good enough man or a better man and make better choices. And you need to be accountable for making these decisions, for being with this guy. And also, what follows the question is, you knew this man for how long? 2 years, 3 years, right? You knew this man was this way for a year or before you met him. You thought, madam, that if you married him, he would change. You thought that if you got his last name or even carried his baby for 9 months, that he will be a different man, which is a problem for a lot of women. So therefore, she already knew that he could potentially do damage in the relationship, or he's not going to line up with whatever principles that she has. But instead of her realizing that it is truly based on her decision and her choices that she made, which oftentimes end up in bad choices, she would immediately try to fight back. She would immediately scorn any man for telling her to be accountable for her choices. She would immediately dismiss what was said, dismiss the fact that she just told him to make better choices. Now that he's saying to her, make better choices, now he's evil. He's a monster. He's biased. You know, he's sexist. Whatever else that she can come up with to shame this guy, because she doesn't want to be accountable for her bad choices. So therefore, in other words, she'd rather walk around with this burden on her heart. She'd rather walk around hurt and pretend as if she's not hurt, but yet call every other man or every other person hurt and wrong in the decisions that they may pursue. But here's the problem and the solution at the same time. The problem is a lot of us is hurt. Forgive the noise in the background. It's raining right now. And I know it sounds like it's the speakers doing that. No, it's rain. Let me take a sip actually at the same time. I'm still sipping on my Fit Aid. Some good stuff. Anyhow. So let's see. Almost lost my track for a moment there. She rather carry that burden around and not really deal with it because it's too much of reality. That reality makes a person change themselves. The reality of accepting that perhaps we're making bad decisions makes a person change what they're doing, or even look at themselves, or even address their own lives and assess it properly to make the proper organizing specs to make sure that it functions properly, or to make sure that they are making the proper decisions that befits them. To do so means you have a better society. To do so means you have accountability. To do and act like an adult and that sort of atmosphere means you're going to have a better outcome. You're going to have a successful future and better opportunities. But unfortunately, in the generations that we are in today, our generation, and the overly populated, unorganized, programmed minds that are camped around us in this new world, there are more hurt people needing therapy. There are more people who are mistrusting each other based on their past instead of embracing the present and trying to heal themselves for the future. I'm going to be very basic with this. There's weak people and there are strong people. And what makes a person strong is not that they are avoiding the pain, but accepting the pain of a heartache or a heartbreak. What makes a person strong is not that they pretend not to feel the fire or the nails that are underneath them. But it is those who are willing to see it, accept it, and understand it, and actually deal with it, which makes a person strong. In this new society, a new program society, there's an orchestration of deception that are circling, especially the woman's atmosphere or the womanese circumference, that is actually telling them that if they show emotions or if they show a bit of submission, if they show their soft feminine nature, they're considered as weak. If they are supportive instead of ones who are taking, they're considered as weak. If they want to have kids in a family, they're considered as weak. If they want to be a wife instead of just wanting the marriage, they're considered as weak. And so that new way of thinking in society is causing the majority, not all, but the majority of women to transform to be more masculine instead of feminine, because they think they can mask their weakness in their masculinity. They can cover up themselves in their masculinity, in their rough behavior, and taking on more testosterone and estrogen through their lifestyle and through their practices that they may endow themselves with. So when you look about it, where did all the pain go? Where is all the hurt? It's still there. It's still present. But instead of saying, well, I need to make better choices for the future, instead of them saying, well, I'm going to be accountable and adjust my lens so I can see the world differently, or men differently, they pursue other things. They'll pursue more college. They'll pursue more careers. They'll pursue more positions, which makes them even more lonely, even more extricated from the possibilities or opportunities of men who could get with them or be with them in a more proper, stable, long-term relationship. And therefore you have a chaotic society that you're dealing with now. And you have this degenerated mindset based on destroying the quality or said values of a society where man and woman cannot come together. Man and woman cannot survive together for the constant combative behavior based on pain, based on mental illness, and based on the struggles that they are bringing into the relationships. And speaking about bringing it into the relationships, when a person do not address their pain and are hurt and sorrow, they will inevitably bring that baggage into their relationship. And thus it ends up failing. Ask yourself this question: why is divorce failing? How come nobody wants to stay, anybody, many, just the majority, in a long-term relationship? Why are people so afraid of each other? It's not that they're afraid, they're worried of the consequences. Consequences derived from fear. Fear derived from the acknowledgement that something's going to happen. If you're in the forest at night, and you have 7 people that are with you camping and walking around and surviving and hunting, and let's say in this scenario you find 2 of them dangling on the tree or upside down on the tree, however you see them, and there's no more life in them in this situation, immediately fear is going to strike you and you're going to go on defense immediately. You know that something's wrong in this forest. You're still in the forest and you don't see anything happening, but slowly but surely now 2 other people are gone. Now 4 people out of your group is gone, because the other 2 you seen in the tree, the other 2 you see lying on the ground in the grass in front of you, missing an arm. One of them's missing eye, just grotesque things, right? Missing eyeballs. Now you think about running, then you out of there, right? The average person to try to find the nearest, safe spot. If you got your cell phone, you pick the cell. You'll do the most. You do the typical. What do you call that? You will do the typical activities in that situation. I don't even have to tell you what you do. You already know. You call the authorities, you run, you try to find safety, you try to figure out where your blinky is, whatever that is, whatever firearm you got to protect yourself. You're going to do whatever you need to be done. But the fact is, let's say you didn't have all that. Let's say you could not go nowhere, because this is life, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about reality here. In every situation, or most situations that we're in, now, I don't mean financially. I'm not talking about in your mind. I'm talking about just existence itself. Sometimes we're in a boxed-in type of situation. Sometimes we're in a rut of our life. And if you want to really talk about universally our opinion on the situation, you can't really escape humanity. You can't really escape the existence that you are in. Not realistically and healthy. And we're not going to have those type of discussions here on this audio today. So let's plant that in this particular scenario and say that you can't leave the forest. You're stuck there. You don't have a cell phone. You have to survive out there. You have no choice but to survive. And every now and then you see one of your partners drop. Now you're at fear, or you should have some form of fear or scared mindset. And so what happens is, now you're looking around, you're alert, you're worried. You don't trust the darkness. You don't trust what's behind the tree. You're listening for every sound. You're listening for every possibility that something can come running up to you, and you're going to be victim number 5, or you could be victim number 2. However, either way, your time is coming eventually. Why is this? Now, let's transform this into relationships. Oh, yes, we're going to do it. You see everyone getting a divorce. You see these divorce cases. You see the alimony. You see the child support situations. Women in other relationships getting, in your words, cheated on. Domestic violence. Being at home, and these stories of having a bored lifestyle, and the measure extends. Or even not only that, you've been hurt in your past. You've been through something with your relationship or that person that you was with. So therefore, you are aware that there is something out there in the forest, but you can't quite leave. So the best thing that you can do, or that the common person does today, which really isn't the best, I'm saying what they usually do. I don't recommend it, but they do it anyway. You live in fear. And not only fear, struggle, and or pain. And all that falls down on trust. You can't trust what's out there. You can't trust what's in the forest, because you see people lying before you. There's no trust. So most times, not all the time, but most times, that's what we're generally dealing with the common person here today, modernly, is a trust issue, and they are in fear of the possibility. They're in fear they're going to get hurt again. They're in fear that they just might get hurt. So therefore, instead of trying it again, the relationship, or doing better, instead of realizing that they can defend themselves, realizing that there is a chance to make a decision, because you got all the evidence around you, or to do better, or to at least evaluate why it happened, right? If you don't want to evaluate why it happened, you'll stay scared and you'll stay mistrusting. You stay in a very short mind. You will stay unevolved, and you'll just be waiting for your time when you're clapped to. You'll be waiting for your time when you're going to be meeting your 5 friends who are no longer here in the land of the living. But when you realize how life operates, when you realize that this comes with the territory of being a human being, this comes with the territory of being in a relationship, this comes in a territory, this comes in the package deal of when you are with someone, is called sacrifice. This is why years ago, they used to ask each other, will you hazard with me? A man would ask a woman, would you hazard with me? What does hazard mean? The possibilities that something can go wrong, but it can go right as well. And in life, there's nothing but hazard. There's nothing but war and possibility of destructions in multiple directions. Some of you don't even know if you're going to have a healthy birth. You don't even know if the child that you're going to bear is going to come out healthy and alive. You don't know that. You don't know what type of connections that you're going to make with this person that you marry. You have no idea whatever it could be, undercover dangers that they can bring into your life, but it's a hazard anyway. But people in the past did that for one, survival. I get it. There was a lot of surviving going on then, with all the numerous wars and the adjustments that they had to make towards the society's moralistic standards. But that's almost the same as what's going on today. It hasn't changed. There's still more of a survival mindset, but this is kind of different. This is based on just finances, not really trying to come together and build a future. It's like everybody for themselves today, instead of building a community, building a future, building a very esteemable, successful possibilities for the future children. It's not even like that anymore today. It's everybody's stuck on themselves and selfish. It's all about my kingdom. It's all about my money. It's all about me getting the bag. So therefore, you go nowhere. And therefore, thus, like I said, you don't evolve. And again, just to move this a little bit forward to the subject that we're talking about, is fear and trust and hurt. Fear, trust, and hurt. You've been hurt, you're in fear, and you just don't trust anymore. However logical that it is, there are reasons behind it. Yes, there's purposes behind it, but also we got to remember that it is up to you to bounce back. It's up to you to bounce back. If you're going to achieve, you have to heal yourself and bounce back for a reason. Let me give you an example. This is a very good example, and I'm going to close this out here. Let me give you the Shangri-La, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. Let's talk real right here. As a, you could say RP man and provider, of course. My name is Morpheus. What do you expect, right? I've had my share as well of downtimes and disappointments and trust. Indeed. And as you know, today I have 3 lovely companions that are, I told you, I stole from heaven. I had to fight God to get them and literally wrestled to get them. And I'm glad I took that challenge and won, obviously, because they're here. But it would not be possible, and are any other successes that I have gained from relationships up until now, if I let my first relationship pull me down. Now, I wouldn't say that I was a man who had fallen in love, no. But I've been disappointed in holding an expectation from the women that I was once with. They did bad things and they made bad decisions, but I've also did exactly what I've just explained to you, and that is evaluate myself. Looked in the mirror and said, is there something that I'm doing wrong to cause them to act the way that they are acting? You understand? It wasn't that I was blaming it on them and said, oh, they're all wrong, and that how could they do this to a man of my status, like most common American women do, like I just described a minute ago, instead of saying, well, all women are dogs, all women are no good, all women are bad. No. You know what I said? I said, no, this is this batch of women here. This is these kinds of women right here that are the trouble, that I keep choosing, that I keep becoming attracted and attractive to. So what I'm going to do is pull away from these types of girls. What I'm going to do is change my choices. And I'm going to get smarter. I'm going to study and make sure that even if it may happen, and there's a possibility of disappointment anyway in the future, because you're not going to meet perfect. Perfect don't come that easy. Okay? But you're going to have something that you can work with. That's the whole idea. Getting something you can work with. Let me say that again. You're not going to get perfect, but it's good when you have something you can work with. And that's not called lowering your standards either. You don't have to lower your standards. But you got to realize sometimes your expectations can be too high and are unrealistic. That's life. You can't prejudge a person before you meet them. You can't say that they're able to meet every check in the box. It don't happen like that. Oftentimes you have to understand that people aren't going to measure up to everything that you want them to be. But you got to understand what works. You got to understand what's good for you, and what's good for you might be what's best for you, better than your unrealistic expectations. And so with those disappointments and mistrusting situations, instead of me judging every woman according to these women that I've encountered, I simply bounced back. I simply said, okay, let me continue to study and remain who I am. Not let them change me to be some sort of Blackheart man. Not make them change me to be this guy who I'm just a raging red pill and just upset at the world, and all women are just disgusting and just worthless, and I don't trust none of them. I don't want to get married. I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't like them. No, 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 no. No, it don't work like that, son. Son, no, son. No, son, no. You have to filter out the situation, just like when you go find gold. Now, it's possible. Not saying that it isn't. It's possible you might find this big hunk of a rock, which is actually gold. On the inside, that is, if you crack it open. It's possible. It's possible that you might find diamonds in this rocky area, which you thought was just a bunch of rocks and stones, but yet you see some diamonds glittering, and you're able to filter it out. It's possible, but the chances are rare when you find this. Well, I guess in my case it was 3, but they're considered as one companion, as I discussed before. I don't want to have to remind you, but when you find this person who is well for you, you have to filter out the rest. The rest have to fall through the grates. They have to. So you may find 1 out of 100, which may be worth your while, or maybe 20 out of 100, but still, you may find it's going to be very rare. You can call them the unicorns, as we usually discuss as women can be. The unicorn. The unicorns are rare. They're 1 out of 1,000,000. So there's going to be a whole lot of loss in the process. So even if the majority of women that I have came across did not fit the standards of being one of my 3 companions, that doesn't mean I gave up on every woman. Apparently, that didn't mean that I was going to just remain jaded for the rest of my life. That didn't mean I just mistrust everyone for the rest of my life. That don't mean I'm walking around with so much hurt and pain based on all the disappointments that was put before me. No, I needed to adjust my vision and realize that the prosperity of quality, or you can say the value in which is about my standards, are on that path to the greatness that I seek, is rare. You understand? So therefore, instead of me being unaccountable and blaming every woman or everybody else, I did exactly what I preached and just said a few minutes ago. I've done that. Instead of being hurt and saying, well, I'm just going to just focus on myself and forget about these women, and, I'm just going to be selfish and I'm going to do this and that, and I'm just going to just be about myself and I don't care about them. That's a dumb, childish, ignorant, unlearned, immature mindset, and you need goddamn therapy. Even if it's 1 out of a million, you realize that that 1 millionth person, that one is there somewhere. You just have to in doing so, here's the thing. Let me go ahead and school you on this one. In doing so, don't let the majority of them create you to be something different than what you are. That's the key, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the key. You don't let no one throw you off of your square. I hear women say, I used to cook and clean and take care of my man, and I brought him things. I'd have his socks folded. I was married to him for like 12 years, and I took care of his kids, and I stayed home, and this and that. But when he cheated on me, now I'm out here and doing this. Now I'm now I'm just OnlyFans girl, and I'm over and over and over again. You know what? That's called weak. Once again, what is true weakness? You let someone throw you off of your square. That's what you did. You allowed someone to change you for the worse, not for the better. If you are qualified in your own standards to be straightforward and true, you're going to be straightforward and true no matter what happens to you. The palm tree, ladies and gentlemen. The palm tree. What happens to the palm tree when the winds is blowing pretty hard? It may bend, it might twist, but it's not going to break. Typically, or you could say normally, depending on what type of heavy winds that you have. Sometimes it's just completely unbearable. But typically the palm tree is going to bend. If you are good in yourself, if you're generally, here it is, a nice person. If you generally love, if you really want to cook and clean for your person, if you really do love and you can love and receive love, you're not going to move from your spot. That's you being true to who you are. That's you remaining who you naturally are from birth. Whatever it might be. So when you allow people to come into your life and throw you off Kittler, to remove you from your soil, to uproot you and change you, you are weak. You automatically mutated yourself, and here comes the pain. Now you need therapy. You need a doctor. Somebody needs to talk to you. You need to, and I don't recommend it, but it's funny because it's part of the subject. You need to go in the office and talk to your pastor. You need to stay home. You know what happens to most people today? And this is fact. There are more people on antidepressants than you ever realized in history. There are people on antidepressants. There are people taking under and over-the-counter pharmaceuticals, medicine, and drugs, ladies and gentlemen, because they can't face their pain. They can't face reality. They've allowed themselves to be a tree that was uprooted from where they used to be. With that live, laugh, and love harder. With that accept the world for what it is mindset, and just keep it pushing and moving. That is, if you love yourself, you won't let the world change you. If you enjoy yourself, you won't let the world change you. If you're comfortable in your own skin, if you're comfortable in what you believe, if you're comfortable and confident in the type of person that you are, you won't let the world remove you because you are set. You are set. The moment you uproot it, you mutate it. You're no longer in the soil in which you was before. Now you got to plant yourself in new soil. And obviously, whatever that new soil is, it's going to change your genetic pattern. It's going to change how you grow. It's going to change what nutrition that you get from your society or your surroundings that's going to be beneficial or not beneficial for you. Do I make myself clear? You are to bounce back. You don't bounce back with negativity. You don't bounce back with trying to fight fire with fire, meaning, oh, well, if all men are going to cheat, then I'm going to go out and do the same thing. No, you can't, ma'am. I don't recommend it. I'm going to tell you right now. Man, it'd be nice if I get my girls up here. I really need to get them on the microphone here, but I know they're not going to do it. I'm going to do that for y'all one day. I need my girls to tell you, but I'm going to speak for them right now. Don't do it. You cannot do what men do. Don't go out there and sport donkey dunk with men just because other men are doing it. You're going to find yourself in the doghouse. You don't want to do it. I have seen some crazy stuff in my lifetime. And I've seen some very depressed, hurt women. See, the thing is, I ain't going to go there. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. Men find ways to deal with their pain and their sorrow, but women oftentimes, they mutate with it and they transform to conform to a different person than they're not. And therefore, they have a different outlook on the world. They become destructive, destroying themselves and others that are around them. The bitterness is real and the struggle becomes a hellfire that no one wants to deal with. But who's going to be hurt in the end is that woman herself, when she's alone just eating cat food with her cats, and nobody wants to come and see her during the holidays. Nobody's sitting around with her Christmas tree that she barely has up, probably a little store-bought Christmas tree sitting on the table. I'm telling you what I know. These women have nobody to come home to, and nobody wants to see them because they did not make themselves worthy or compatible when they had the chances to. They lived their life with pain and mistrust of men, which was really pain and mistrust of herself. This is why you often hear therapists or some people say, all right, you forgive him and forgive yourself. You say, why do I need to forgive myself? Forgive yourself for allowing you to be defeated, allowing you to uproot yourself and to change from what you used to be. Life is based on bouncing back. You got to get up. You got to get up. Get up. You got to get up. You can't stay down. You got to get up. If you stay down, you're staying down. Get up. You can't let them move you from where you're standing. You got to stand. We all go through hurt and pain every now and then. We all suffer something. We all don't trust something or someone or someone's. But we can't let that uproot us. If not, we're going to mutate our mind, our body, and our soul. And we're going to pass away inside. There's a statement, when you go down, the only way to go is up. But what they didn't tell you is, how do you get up? How do you go up? You go up by seeing where you are, and you start looking up, and you start pulling yourself up from that situation with whatever utilities that you have available. And oftentimes, those utilities aren't available, which is called hopelessness. I don't use that word hope because people use it. It's very Again, I'm not going to explain myself to you, but for you, I'm saying hopelessness because it's very common. When in actuality, it is non-opportunities. You have no opportunities. Nothing is available for you to excel out of that situation. Gotta take another drink here. I tell you what, nothing beats green tea. That's some good stuff. Green tea is awesome. And when there's nothing for you to hold on to, you got to face yourself. You got to heal your demons. You have to calm yourself down. You have to stop you and talk to you. But when people get in this point of life, some people consider the low valley of their life, and they've been changed and hurt, and they mistrust everybody around them. They start using the most easiest accesses to get out of that situation. That's where you're most manipulated. You start depending on people you don't need to be dependent on. You start making decisions that are dangerous decisions. OnlyFans, Instagram, pay to play, let me strip down and you pay for me. Throw some single denominations of dollars at me because I'm living this alternate life, but yet I want the proceeds and the benefits of other women who aren't doing it this way. Hello. Or even some men who have to turn to slanging that KK, putting that stuff in the box or the shoe and trying to make it happen because you have no art, because you can't do it the right way, and the right way doesn't seem like it's going to be profitable. So you start going the alternative way in certain decisions that you make. But it usually ends up in the bad ending because the alternative is to mutate you. When you mutate it, you're not going to get the nutrition from a solid, healthy ground that's legit, legitimate, straight, and right. Or any other thing that you are doing, which is none of my business. But if you care about yourself, if you are the man or the woman that you are supposed to be, or that you were ordained to be, you're not going to be moved. You should stand tall and get up. But the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, and here's another Shangri-La here before I end this audio. We are living in a very sick world and a very sick time, and I've said it before, where we're making living with our illness normal, but it's not natural, just normal and common. We don't seek therapy. We're not looking to stand on a solid ground. We love to be moved. We're not palm trees. We're branches. That's who we are. Have you seen a branch in a storm? Have y'all seen branches in a hailstorm or a storm, a heavy windfall? When you go outside the next morning, you see leaves and branches everywhere, sometimes even on your car. You see them everywhere. That's what we are, branches. That's what they want us to be, because when you are a branch, someone gets paid. Because guess what? Someone's going to have to clean up your mess or enact a new way for the society to think and act, because you are easily a broken people. And an easily broken person is an easy manipulated one as well. Did you hear what I just said? When you're easily broken, you are easily manipulated. And when you're manipulated, now you're part of the pact. You're part of the herd. And therefore you left yourself altogether. And here comes the new way of doing things in the new world that you're in today. Here comes a new society of sick people. Here comes your broken world, because nobody wants to stand solid of where they once was, or qualified nutrition to help birth new fruit. better fruit from your branches. You shouldn't be the branches. To find the branches break off, but you shouldn't be the branch itself, even though you're connected to it. But I prefer to you, and you should prefer to yourself as more of a palm tree than anything. You may bob and weave, you may duck and dodge, but you're not going to move from where you were planted. Thus, you survive a little bit longer to see the next day. This audio is meant to inspire you and inspire the downtrodden to see it's for both of you, those who are healed and those who are not healed. Those who are not healed can realize they're just in pain. You're in pain and you have problems trusting because you allowed yourself to be finagled, and you're making bad choices, and you just don't want to be healed, because if you're healed, you got to change your life to find that healing. You got to transform yourself and cleanse yourself from what you once was, or make yourself better in better nutrition, in a better solid ground where you can sway like a palm tree, but you're not willing to do it. You love being manipulated where you are, so you're living with pain, sorrow, and mistrust. Therefore, there's no future for you. There can't be. We're in this together. On the other end, those who are healed and you're able to see these chaotic people, you should be able to understand them even more when they talk like that. I don't want a man. I don't want to get married. I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And no, I'm just going to worry about myself till 40. And life is going to be life. I'm just going to pray about it. And God's going to bring everything to me. Oh, so now you want God to do the dirty work. Oh, so you want God to fight your demons. Oh, so you want somebody to just go ahead and throw a rope down there at your lowest point of your life and pull you out because you don't want to climb out. You will not succeed. Sometimes there's nothing better than tests and trials, which makes you better and sharper and hones your potential to realize what you have lost. So therefore, when you gain it again, you're not going to lose it again, such as yourself. So that is the answer. Another swing at this life that we're living today, ladies and gentlemen. It is pain, it is mistrust, and the mishap of not wanting to correct ourselves or make better decisions, in which is the world that we live in today. Because we want to make our psychotic episodes normal, because we don't want to heal our hearts and our sorrows, and because we are wanting and loving to mistrust each other, we're never going to trust ourselves. We're never going to have a future, because we don't want to open up and then everybody have these conditions before they're opening up to other people, which most times is unrealistic. So they'll never be healed. So therefore, the society, or you could say humanity as a whole, especially in the westernized world, is going to continue to sink in sand. Until we realize we need to heal ourselves, we're not going nowhere. We're going to stay in a ditch-like lifestyle and muddy everybody else, because misery loves company. But we can do better. Don't let nobody throw you off your square. Stay solid and true. Sway, but don't break. Bob and weave, but don't give in. If you're still kind and you cook, you clean, you provide, keep doing that no matter who you meet. Of course, for the right person. But if it's generally who you are, that's just who you are. If you can perceive, that's who you just perceive. If you love, you just love. If you're kind, you're just kind. If you're a giver, you're just a giver. If you love talking to people, if you're a social person, that's just who you are. But don't let people mutate you and push you away from your realistic potential. Yes, accept reality. Sometimes we have to modify ourselves to survive. I get it. You do live and you learn, and you should learn from your mistakes. But even if it's 9-1 or 10-1, even if it's 100-10, and the 90% of that will destroy you, it don't matter. That 10% is who you are. That's just your opportunities. That's just what you have to deal with. But don't let the 90% move you and make you to be something that's going to devour your future. You need therapy and to cleanse your mind and to heal yourself. Learn to love and trust again. And while you're learning to love and trust, realize maybe it's you making a mistake. Maybe it's the people that you are choosing. And usually 9 times out of 10, it is the people you're choosing. Because the ones who are for you and the ones who are of quality, I just told you, they're going to be 10 out of 100. They're going to be the 1 out of 10. That's the way it operates. But in order to find those unicorns, to find those nuggets of gold and diamonds, you got to go through something. You got to filter the rest of them out. Don't let the rest of them mutate you and change your perspectives, because otherwise, if you do, when that diamond and that gold nugget is there, you won't recognize it, nor will you be able to filter it out or accept it, because now you're mutated by the 90% garbage that you've taken into your life. Now you're done. You're finished. You're jaded. You're heartbroken. You can't trust no more. So that person, here it is, relationship-wise, that person that's for you, you won't recognize them. You're going to think they're just like the rest. You're going to think they're just like the rest of the 90, just a regular old rock. And now your heart have become a rock. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Lesson, you have been served.